Hello, everyone. Happy New Year and welcome to the first episode of Astrology Now for 2026. We kick off with the first new moon for the year in Capricorn, and it's a doozy. And this is where the cosmos hands us a clipboard and says, "All right, what's the plan?" So, with the Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Mars all in Capricorn, this is serious. I mean, serious. Get things done energy with purpose. And it's going to get done in earnest and with hard work. So, aren't we lucky? But
Yeah.
wait, there's more. Added to the mix, we have Pluto and Venus and Aquarius, and suddenly the future's knocking at our door. Relationships, values, and communities are getting a complete system reboot. And that's already started to happen to me. So if it feels outdated, it's probably on its way out. So just a heads up on that. And meanwhile, on the opposite side of the wheel, we still have Jupiter retrograde in Cancer. But it's tugging at our emotional sleeves and asking us to check in with our feelings in our homes, in our comfort zones, so that while we're going to build a big in the world, do it without abandoning what makes us feel safe and human. So that's a real balancing act right there. So this new moon is perfect for setting intentions that are practical and emotionally aware and future ready with just enough courage to try something new. So Babula, let's untangle all that. And that's your area. You're the professional here. I'm just the student. Because that's a mammoth task to untangle it all.
Oh, it's huge. We are now entering, well, really from the start of the year, but from this new moon, we are entering a period of about 2 months of non-stop action happening in our solar system and impacting all our lives on planet Earth. There is just a lot of movement, intensity, new energies coming through, and we were just saying before, I think by the time we get through all this lot, well, really not until about the end of April when Uranus goes into Gemini, we're going to hopefully be able to catch our breath a little bit and look back and just go, wow, what happened? What was that? Because
Yeah.
it's just a lot moving. So Cheryl and I will endeavour to make a little bit of sense of it all, and you use the word untangle. We'll try and untangle it all, and so I like to look at the specifics, but also what is that? What's the big picture? What is the overview? What's the general vibe and feeling of all of this? So let's
Mm.
start breaking it down, if as best we can.
Well, I'm,
Um,
I'm I'm seriously interested in this because it's all happening in my first house.
I know. That's right.
So that's fun.
That's fun. That's right. And so each of us will experience this as part of the collective field, of course, but also individually according to how these movements are actually affecting our own birth chart.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it will be particular to everyone and their chart and their current situation in life, of course. So leading up to the new moon on the 19th, on the 17th of January, which was yesterday, because we're recording this the day before the new moon, Venus moved into Aquarius. So she came out of Capricorn, where she's been, I often think of, if I have an image of Venus in Capricorn, she's the woman, dressed for business. She's going out into the world. She's got her, quality leather briefcase and, her business suit on, and away she goes. It's a kind of an image I often have of Venus in Capricorn.
I'm thinking of Margaret Thatcher.
That's right. That's right. So that's right. So when Venus goes into Aquarius, it's a different vibe altogether. Now she's putting a spacesuit on, or she's put her astrologer's hat on. This is the energy of Venus, of heart, of connection, of love, wanting to connect with people through the world of ideas.
Mm.
That realm of intelligence and consciousness and the bigger picture and the universe and humanity. And you and I both have Venus in Aquarius, so we love all that.
Yeah, so I definitely have a spacesuit.
That's right. We've got the spacesuit ready to go. So Venus is now in Aquarius and will be for about 3 weeks. And what's happening is that there's been this kind of almost like a pile up of all the inner planets over the last couple of weeks, and this will continue for a while, all coming together, and one by one, they're all kind of changing sign together. So we're coming out of a Capricornian period, and we're going to be moving into more of a focus on Aquarius. So the sequence, I'm going to read through the sequence because it's like day after day, the next thing and the next thing. So 17th, Venus goes into Aquarius. On the 18th, there's a conjunction of Mercury, mind communication, with Mars, warrior, at 26 of Capricorn. So they're still in Capricorn. On the 19th is the new moon at 28 degrees, almost 29 of Capricorn, at 5:51 a.m. Brisbane time. The following evening, on the 20th, the sun will exit Capricorn and go into Aquarius. Venus, already in Aquarius, will make a conjunction with Pluto that you mentioned before. And when I say make a conjunction, she's already in a conjunction with Pluto, but it's the date that it becomes exact at 3 degrees. On the 21st, Mercury leaves Capricorn and goes into Aquarius. And Mercury, mind communication, loves Aquarius. Very happy to be in Aquarius because it's a sign of, it's a mind, sign of the mind. And so our mental apparatus is going to be really switched on and really strong.
Yeah.
To the point where, as we come into this Aquarius energy, this is when people start complaining, like, I can't get to sleep, I keep waking up, I feel jangled, I feel like someone's turned the electrical turned on electrical power surge, and how do I turn it off? It can feel like that. On the 22nd, the sun makes a conjunction with Mercury at 1 of Aquarius. On the 23rd, Mercury joins with Pluto at 3. Mars enters Aquarius on that date, and the sun will make a conjunction with Pluto. So I like graphics, I like images. So I prepared this a little earlier. It's like those cooking chefs.
Yes.
So this is what it looks like on the new moon in late Capricorn. And there's Venus already in Aquarius, making its move, getting closer and closer to Pluto. One by one, each of these faster moving planets are going to exit Capricorn, go into Aquarius, and they're all going to pass over Pluto. And Pluto is the power here, right? So that's what it looks like. So I've just listed the dates. That's a lot. This is very intense. This transition out of Capricorn, the sign of structures and organization and systems and governments and business and all of those things. As they exit Capricorn and go into Aquarius, it's like, whoa, there's Pluto, Lord of the Underworld, waiting. They're already close to Pluto, but now they're really joining. We call that a conjunction in astrology. So it's going to be a very intense new moon, and the week after, as one by one these planets exit Capricorn and go into Aquarius, the sign of the people, humanity, consciousness. Yeah.
So that stellium in Capricorn, because it is Capricorn, and it likes structure and order and plans and strategies and long-term plans as well. It's like it's setting up, isn't it? It's building a new foundation because it's pulling down the old ones and making the new ones. And I was just thinking about this the other day that like earlier in the year I paid a deposit to have a new carport and driveway put in, but it didn't actually happen until I think it was the sun went into Capricorn. And I thought about that and I thought, isn't that interesting? So So I had all this heavy equipment came in and it dug up the driveway, got rid of all the old concrete, which is all broken up in pieces. Then the perimeters had to go down and be boarded up like Capricorn and Saturn there that likes the edges of things.
Yeah.
And then the steel goes into it for structure and strength, to hold it all together. And then the concrete's poured, the carport's gone up. And I think it all couldn't have happened unless all that new foundation was created. So you've got this stellium of planets all in Capricorn like that, and they're setting something up for the next lot, which is all in Aquarius, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's just like the cosmic clock has turned, and this is next, and it's
Yeah,
whatever it is, it's going to be lasting.
that's right.
Mm.
And that's very Capricorn, if it's built well on solid foundations, and it will take time, you don't rush it. You just build those solid layers of foundation. Absolutely, it will last forever.
Mm.
Um, and see, I've been during this very Capricornian period as well. I've been absolutely focused on planning and organizing, with my diary and dates and so on, and looking at transits and so on, courses and workshops for the year. And so I've got a plan. I know from experience, and I'm very Neptunian, that plans can change, but I have a plan in place. Something is now in place. So I feel something in me goes, okay, now I've got a bit of clarity about what it looks like, but I also accept that, and anything can happen to shift some of those things, because that happened last year.
Mm.
So it's that, isn't it? It's like whatever is going on in our own lives, and I'm seeing it here with family too. There are certain things being put in place, certain structures and foundations from which we can move forward.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and I was thinking too with the new moon there, um, it's a really good time to establish new traditions.
Yeah.
And I remember my daughter a few years ago, when she and her husband moved into the house that they were building. Um, she said, "Oh, we're going to get a new ornament every year. This is going to be our new tradition, Mum. We're going to get a Christmas ornament every year that represents both of us and hang it on the tree. So after 20 years, we'll have all these great ornaments with meaning." And I thought, what a lovely tradition. But then I just realized recently she did that in that Capricorn energy, when
Yes.
all around that time. And it's a really good time to do that, to establish these new traditions.
Yes, Capricorn loves tradition.
Mm,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And new moon is a time for that.
yeah.
So it's so fascinating, and I think to just, watch and observe as this shift happens across that Capricorn Aquarius cusp, meeting up with Pluto, the wrecking ball of the solar system, who's all about death and transformation.
Mm,
And the interesting thing about these two signs, of course, is that traditionally they're both ruled by Saturn.
mm,
The modern ruler of Aquarius is absolutely Uranus, the mover and shaker. But there's an underlying Saturnian theme in Aquarius because it is a fixed air sign.
yes, that's right.
Yeah. So there's still a certain kind of structure that comes with the sign of Aquarius, but it's in the mind, it's on the mental plane.
Yeah. The other thought I had too, we mentioned that Capricorn Aquarius bridge, I guess you call it,
Yeah.
is that that Capricorn energy with Saturn in there, it can be quite unbending, right? But once it gets to Aquarius, if it doesn't bend, Aquarius will break it.
It breaks,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So we have to be very
Exactly.
aware of that. So where we're
Yeah.
a bit unbending in things ourselves, we need to sort of look at that and make a plan to change that approach. Otherwise, something might break.
That's right. And with everything else that's coming up over the next couple of months, we're all going to be learning how to remain very flexible,
Mm,
and ride these waves. So that new moon, you know, as I said, so I showed you that other graphic, but here is the new moon here.
No.
No, I've gone to the full moon coming up. I've got all these bits of paper. Here we go. So that's all those planets in Capricorn, Aquarius. And as you said, opposite the planet Jupiter, well, they're now moving away from the opposition, but Jupiter's been in opposition to these planets in Capricorn for a while now. And so yes, for a lot of people, these themes have been playing out in their home life or personal life. You know, and Capricorn is very, very pragmatic. And Cancer is all, you know, feeling and intuitive responses and so on. The other thing that's interesting to say about this new moon occurring on the 19th, and here's another one I made up. So there's a new moon at 28 degrees of Capricorn, making a sextile to Saturn and Neptune and a trine to Uranus. So and there's Pluto sitting right next to it. So all the outer planets, which are the big players in the solar system, and these are the planets that represent the powerful forces of transformation, they are all connected to this new moon as well. So, you know, if anyone's still thinking things are going to stay the same, you need to kind of let that one go, because they're not.
Actually, I think at the end of this year, the world is going to look very different.
It's going to look very different.
Yes, yes. So buckle up, everyone.
Yep, strap in, and you know, and that's both in our own personal world and in the larger world. Things are really on the move. So, okay, so that's the new moon. Then, of course, that's all a prelude, as if that wasn't enough. That's a prelude to one of the really big events happening in 2026 is that the planet Neptune, which spends 14 years in each sign, so it's a very slow-moving planet, finally, and I say that with meaning, finally exits Pisces, where it's been very strong for the last 14 years. And Neptune is the ruling planet of Pisces. So we've been in this very Neptunian car wash was the image that came to mind. Energy for 14 years, and it's going to move into the very dynamic fire sign of Aries on the 27th of January. And that is extremely significant. We had a little taste of that last year for a couple of months before we went back into Pisces. And where did we begin trying to explain what that means?
Well, can I just jump in there?
Do.
Saturn's been Saturn. Sorry, I think I've got out of step here. What are we on?
Well, we're talking about Neptune. You can't even think of the word.
I know. Well, first of all, I'm just thinking illusion, delusion, you know, and sort of, yeah, it's just been so much of it, and we've sort of been living in this Neptunian underwater dream house, I think, you know.
Yeah.
And the delusion is just, I see so many delusional things going on the planet, don't you? And now we're about to wake up and go, whoa,
Yes.
okay, it's going to be a great unveiling.
It's almost as though, you know, everything this is how I see it, everything that we've known the world to be, you know, whatever we felt about that, most of it, if not all of it, hasn't actually been true.
Yeah.
You know, it's been fake, false, it's been a lot of deception, subterfuge, smoke screens, distractions, you know, don't look at what's really happening, look over here. Look. So that's very Pisces Neptune. We can get pulled in so many directions, and we can get seduced by the next beautiful thing, you know, oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, it's not real.
I think the anesthetic's wearing off, don't you?
Yes, I love that. The anesthetic is wearing off and hard cold reality is staring us in the face.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And that can be both scary and very kind of shattering and disillusioning, but it's also essential and liberating ultimately.
Yeah.
And many of us have been waiting for this to happen,
Yeah,
probably all our lives, if not lifetimes, you know.
yeah. And I also think that for a long time, um, from the people I speak to, and my general sense is that people have been wanting to escape the madness because there's a sense of madness in that delusion, isn't there?
Completely.
Yeah,
It is, it's chaotic and it is madness. The more people, I think the more extreme it gets, the more people are shaking their heads and just going, what the is going on?
exactly.
And beginning to see that all the layers of deception. Yeah. So Neptune is that, but it's also um, has the potential to open us up to a greater sense of reality of the oneness of all of life in a more spiritual sense. You know,
Mm,
it's a lot. Um, so on the 27th, Neptune moves into Aries and will not return back into Pisces, you know, on this long round. And the following day, Mars makes an exact conjunction with Pluto. That's a very potent combination at 3 of Aquarius. Very, very strong. And that's interesting because Mars is the ruling planet of Aries. And now Aries has got this big activation from mystical Neptune. And remember, Neptune's going to be in Aries now for 14 long years.
mm,
And this is just the beginning.
mm.
Um,
Interesting, isn't it?
but
Reshaping
it's
society and our sense of identity from the ground up, basically, isn't it?
huge, yes. And Aries is very different energetically to Neptune. You know, it's all fire and go and me and my desire and what I want and our will and that sense of urgency to push forward and make things happen.
Yeah,
And Neptune operates in a very different way to that. It's not easy to encapsulate that in a couple of sentences. In fact,
yeah.
I'm running a whole one-day workshop shortly on this whole big Saturn Neptune conjunction that's coming up because you know there's so many different ways to look at that.
Yeah.
And so the Mars is very active. Mars, the ruling planet of Aries, is very strong during this period when Neptune's moving into Aries.
Mm,
Then on the 29th, there's a Mercury Venus conjunction in the middle of Aquarius, leading up to a full moon
mm,
on February the 2nd at 13 degrees of Leo.
yeah.
And that will be in opposition to a whole bunch of planets now in the middle of Aquarius. So the full moon is always exactly opposite the sun. And so
Right.
that, like, whoops,
So,
uh,
so, oh, okay, go on.
I moved too quickly for the camera. So there's the full moon. Whoops, what's happening to the
You're right.
There we go. And there we have Mercury and Venus and the Sun and Mars and Pluto all sitting here in opposition. So the new moon involved all those planets. And then 2 weeks later, the full moon, she's come around and now she's going to sit in opposition to them all from the far sign of Leo.
So you've got this Leo energy, which is a very centralizing energy, isn't it? It's like the
Yeah.
king and everything's happening around me. And then the
Yes,
opposite side, you've got all this Aquarian energy, which is, no, it's not all about you, mate. It's about the people, you know.
that's right. It's about all of us.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's going to be interesting.
Yes, and the full moon, of course, is always the peak of every lunar cycle. It starts at the new moon. So something, it really, and the full moon, it's bright, it's full of light. And Leo and Aquarius, to me, are signs that hold a lot of light. You know,
Yeah,
Leo is a
yeah.
fire sign, it's bright, it's ruled by the sun. And Aquarius, to me, represents the light of consciousness and awareness, you know.
Mm.
So there's a lot of light. Things are going to be brightly lit up and possibly exposed.
Of course, you can be
Why
blinded
and
by too much light.
that
I said you can be blinded by too much
you
light.
can be blinded by too much light. That's right.
Mm.
And you know, at night when we go to sleep to get some rest for the body, mind, and soul, you know, most of us like to sleep in a darkened room. You know, we need to turn the lights off. So this is a very bright
Mm,
Or moon, but that polarity of Leo and Aquarius is so interesting because Aquarius, when it's running at its extreme negative expression, can be everything is about the group and the individual does not matter.
mm,
So everyone has to be in agreement with the group mind and group think. And if anyone
mm,
stands out and expresses a different opinion because they see it differently, they will be excommunicated from the group or they will be punished. So that's one of the themes that can arise with this, how are we able to stand in our own individual authenticity while at the same time collecting in this collective process of awakening.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do we keep our individuality
Yeah.
and amongst everything that's going on? Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Interesting
Yeah.
time.
Interesting times. And suddenly what occurred to me too is this issue of AI, which is a very controversial one, and people see it through different lenses. I really get that. AI is very much Aquarius,
Yeah.
as we are now, in the birthing process of the Aquarian age. And I'm hearing a lot from people who are creative people, whether they are poets, film producers, musicians, artists, visual artists, really struggling with this issue of AI taking over the creative space, which
Mm,
belongs in many ways to Leo. So and when we see images now, we read a written piece. Do we really know that it was written by that person, created by that person, or by technology?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's a challenging thing in the creative space, I think.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
So that could really come to the fore around that full moon period. Um, Now, this is interesting as well, because then on February the 4th, the planet Uranus, the ruling planet of Aquarius and the planet of disruption, chaos, and change and awakening, turns direct. It's been in retrograde motion for about 5 months
mm,
in the last few degrees of Taurus. So it's coming to the end of its 7-year journey through Taurus, fixed Earth.
mm,
Why that's especially significant right now is that as it turns forward at 27 of Taurus and moves forward on April the 26th, it will leave Taurus and not go back there. It will leave Taurus and go into Gemini. So that means it's on its final leg through the sign of Taurus, where it's been for 7 years, creating so much upheaval and change in the financial space. Taurus is the primary money sign to do with finances, economies, banking, our own relationship with money, resources, and so on.
mm,
Culture, land, oil, property, wealth, banking, cash, gold, Bitcoin, all of these issues have been through so much turmoil in the last 7 years, and we're in a very different space now.
mm. While it was retrograde, just these last, was it
Yeah.
7 months? Yeah. It stalled any change, didn't it? It sort of stalled that for a while.
Yes.
Like give you a bit of time to gather yourself.
Yes, that's right. And I noticed that one thing that's happened, which has taken a lot of people by surprise, but many other people on the sidelines have been predicting this, is that silver, which has been pretty stable in a low rate for a long time, the pundits have been predicting that just, buy silver, folks, because it's about to rocket. It has rocketed and it's not stopping. It doesn't seem to be stopping. It is. So that will have taken a lot of people by surprise.
Mm, mm.
It's just shot through the roof.
I think you and I are often on the same wavelength because just as I think I'm going to talk about silver, or whatever you say, it's not okay.
Like, well, you might have something to add to that, but
Oh
uh,
no, I agree, fully agree with you. Yeah, it's just skyrocketing, but it's like while it's been retrograde, it's like it's stalled to get your finances in order to,
yes,
gather your resources, those sorts of things, so that um, Yeah, just get your security and your stability organized so that, for what's coming after as it goes out of Taurus.
That's right. And so this is the period to really do that, because you've only got till about the end of April, April the 26th, where it leaves Taurus. So that's a very good point to really use this time,
Mm.
if you haven't yet, to really get clear and get organized, because Taurus loves to get organized.
Yeah.
I know lots of Taurians, and getting organized is what they do.
Mm.
Yeah. They do very well. So, oh, I can just feel it. Like, it's just so much. And it's not just a lot, it's a lot of big things, like
Mm.
big shifts happening, all within a fairly short space of time. Then on February the 7th, Mercury will exit Aquarius and slip into the watery depths of Pisces. So our minds, which have been very kind of organized and switched on for 3 weeks or so, or going through Aquarius, it's going to get submerged into water. And,
Mm.
very often I was born with that, so I know what it's like. The mind can sort of feel like, oh, where was I? What was I doing? What was that word again? You go from one room to another with great purpose, and you're
Yeah.
on, but on the way, your mind's drifted off somewhere else, either in your thoughts or because you've seen something, and by the time you get to where you're going, you haven't got a clue what you're doing there.
Mm. Mm.
And but Mercury in Pisces can be amazing to really open up. It removes all the barriers and opens us up to the realms of imagination and, wonder and mystical. It's looking at a beautiful butterfly and just being stopped in your tracks in a moment of awe. That's very much how Mercury in Pisces, very poetic.
Mm. Yeah.
In Aquarius, Mercury can be quite scientific in its thinking and very good for technology and so on.
Mm.
In Pisces, it's like, what was that?
Yeah. It's good for the imagination and creativity, isn't it?
Wonderful for that, really wonderful for that.
Yeah.
And then on the 10th, Venus
Mm.
leaves Aquarius and also goes into Pisces, and she really likes being in Pisces.
Yeah.
We say that Venus is exalted in this sign. It's like an honorary sign for her,
Yeah.
because she is the planet of love after all. And in Pisces, there is always the potential of selfless, unconditional love that, we humans rarely reach, but, it's there. And that um, deep sense of compassion that can
Yeah.
come from the heart, through Venus and Pisces.
And empathy too, empathy and understanding, and
Yeah,
more willing to help those that we care about.
yeah,
And we can make new connections through spiritual similarities too.
yes. And when yes.
I was going to say, or even karmic connections too.
That's right. When we meet someone and it's just that sense of familiarity, it's feeling of, "Oh, I feel like I know you."
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then on the 14th, so we're not done yet, there's more coming. On the 14th, we're laughing because it's a good way to go about it. But it's very, I make sure that I watch funny stuff every single day because I love a good laugh. And if something makes me laugh out loud, I'm right there, because we must. And I do have a weird sense of humor. So on the 14th, Saturn moves into Aries. So Neptune has already moved into Aries and is moving very slowly, still sitting at 0 degrees. And now Saturn on the 14th of February, literally 2 weeks after Neptune, also moves into Aries. They've
Mm.
been traveling very close together in late Pisces for most of the second half of 2025.
Mm.
And they came very close to meeting, but they never exactly touched. It's like the image I have is, two potential lovers meeting and getting very close to really connecting, but then they kind of separate a little bit. And then finally, there is the consummation. This feels like the consummation of, it literally is a consummation of thousands of years in the making.
Mm.
I'd never seen it like that before. This is why talking together is so helpful. You know, it kind of opens things in your mind.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And I just got this picture of like these two planets that come together every 37 years, you know, in different signs. I was born on a Saturn-Neptune conjunction. And every few hundred years, they'll come together in Aries, but they have never come together at 0 degrees of Aries, which is the most important degree in the whole zodiac, for 9,000 years. That's how huge this is. And that's why I'm doing a whole day on it, because it's just massive. And so on the 14th, Saturn at 0 degrees of Aries, leading us to the new moon on the 17th at 28 of Aquarius. And it's no ordinary new moon, it's also a solar eclipse. So not only with all these other things we've already talked about, we're also building up now to an eclipse phase period, an
Yeah.
eclipse portal. So yeah, so it's an Aquarian eclipse at 28 degrees. And if anyone has anything in their chart around that degree, that eclipse will activate that point in their chart. And eclipses are really potent catalysts for change and significant events.
So we're talking about a massive paradigm shift, aren't we?
We absolutely are.
Yeah, massive.
Massive paradigm shift.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting with that. I'm just thinking it through while you're talking. That, with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, it's like, you've got to learn to be independent, take the initiative, take the lead, be comfortable with your true identity. Now that's an issue, isn't it? Because I was
It
thinking
is.
before, this delusion that we've been living through, well, not
Yeah.
me, but other people, of course. No, but like the whole issue around sexuality, like
Yep.
identity of your gender.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering, when this happens, are people going to sort of wake up and go, "Oh my God, what have I done to myself?"
Yep.
Yeah, just amazing.
Yep. And yes, and I think that that conjunction, which is exact on the 21st at 0 degrees and 45 minutes, and hasn't even got to 1 degree. It's at that 0 point. 0 Aries is literally, it's often just called the 0 point. And it feels like a moment of choice on a very deep soul level, and it's fascinating that it literally follows on the heels of the eclipse. And eclipses are very active for, days and weeks, even months following. But certainly in those days after, while that eclipse energy is still reverberating strongly, the most important event of 2026 will occur, that exact conjunction of Saturn and Neptune. And yes, it sort of renders us a bit speechless, really.
Yeah, my mind's just processing it all, just
Yeah.
thinking about it. And I'm just thinking about all the issues that we've seen about identity, regardless of whether it's to do with sexuality
Yep.
or your ethnicity or all those sorts of things, all the
That's
things
right.
that we've been seeing for these last years that have come up. And then suddenly there's going to be a switch turned on around all that and go,
That's right.
ah,
Who am I
yes,
as an individual entity?
yeah, yeah.
And I think it's something around, Neptune connects us to the whole and to all. And if we can speak in spiritual terms about that, we might want to use the word, I'm comfortable with the word God. I have no problem with that at all. And I don't relate it to a religious concept. And or we could think of it as great spirit or source or the great mother or the mystery or the all, whatever is our language that we're comfortable with. Neptune in many ways represents that. We are all part of the one. We all come from that same source. Saturn in Aries is, and who are you as an individual within that greater whole? So we're not all the same. We're all individuals, and that's what Aries represents. And how to be that without getting lost in confusion. There's so much confusion on this planet. People are drowning in confusion, and I get it. I understand why. It's very confusing.
Mm.
I think we're coming into a period of awakening more to who we actually are as individuals, but also within the context of, and we're all part of God or source or the mystery at the same time, as reflections of that.
I think there's also, with my background with the UFO community, I think there's going to be some um, dialogue starting around us as cosmic citizens.
Yes.
Identity,
Yes.
and what does that mean? So yeah, I'm curious. It's a good time to start that dialogue anyway.
It certainly is.
Yeah. And who
Yeah.
are our neighbors? Who are our galactic neighbors? And I mean, maybe I've watched too much Star Trek. No, it's not. It's not really. It's my Aquarius rising, but
Yeah.
it's
No,
just
but you've been really immersed in this for a long time, and you've had communication with many, many, many people. So you know this space. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and it's time to get on with that rather
Yeah.
than just reports of things and congressional
Yes.
hearings and basically all those things around the UFO issue. That's really just the sideshow, and the main event is humanity stepping up to their cosmic citizenship.
Absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely. And that's also about a complete shift of consciousness, isn't it? Yeah.
definitely.
The quantum shift, the paradigm shift that you spoke
Mm,
of earlier.
mm.
So there's no way we're going back.
No.
This is like Aries. If any of you know people who are Aries, I know plenty of them, and I have some Aries in me. Aries always pushes forward.
Mm,
So 0 degrees of Aries is literally a birth moment. And birth is just the beginning. It's a new beginning. It's like the fool, stepping off the cliff. There's a journey ahead. He doesn't know where he's going, but he's got the intuitive knowing and the courage and the guts to take that first step. What is it, that old Chinese saying? The longest journey begins with the first step.
yes.
We
Yeah.
are stepping into something, or maybe we're being pushed off the cliff into something new.
Is it the Fool card in tarot, do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely it is. That was what I was referring to. And some people will be stepping off that cliff and others might need a little bit of the ram might come behind and just push them off. The
Mm,
Aries ram. Yeah.
fascinating. That's a lot to digest, Babula. I'm going to have to go away and think about that for like 1 or 2 months.
Well, remember, we'll be living it. We'll be living
Yes.
it day by day.
Yeah.
And it's one of the beauties of astrology, when we have that kind of information, you can just watch it unfold and track it. And I think it's like watching it both objectively playing out in the world and in the lives of people around us, but we'll also be experiencing it very directly and immediately in our own reality.
We're living
Our bodies, our relationships. Yeah.
we're living history basically. We're we're,
We
we're living what's the word? Archives.
we are.
It's,
We are absolutely living history, and it's very alive and it's very dynamic. And this whole phase, of course, began in January 2020,
mm,
but last year was a very important year because it was the completion of something. And of course, we're in the fire horse year hasn't yet begun. People
uh,
jump the gun a lot on the 1st of January. Well, see, that's the other thing. The fire horse year, the Chinese New Year, begins on the 17th of February on the day of the eclipse, of
ah,
the Aquarius eclipse.
interesting.
I know, and then just a couple of days later, the Saturn Neptune conjunction happens in Aries, a fire sign. There's this huge shift into fire and air this year, reflected in the fire horse energy, you know, out of water and earth that we've been in for many years. Fire and air, very dynamic, fast moving.
Yeah, so a lot of things will be ignited, and they won't be able to be put out.
That's right.
Yeah, they won't, because when fire and air get together, they're a wildfire.
Wildfire.
Yeah.
And I think the element of fire itself will be quite prominent, which sadly is likely to include a lot of big fiery events,
Mm,
as in, you know, wildfires. Also, unfortunately, you know, the warmongers are all just breaking their necks to get in and get amongst it and make that happen because they have their shady reasons for wanting that. So they're pushing, you know, pieces on the chessboard, you know, trying to maneuver them to get that to happen, to get that spark happening. But
mm,
hopefully, you know, humanity's ready to just really rise up and find their own Aries courage.
mm.
Just
Yeah,
go, no, enough, no more.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's true. It's about, yeah, bravery, isn't it? It's about the warrior energy, you know, and
it
stepping
is.
up and standing up for
Yeah,
things too.
yeah. I mean,
Mm,
it's already happening. You know, the main news outlets are giving very little attention to this, but you know, there's a Middle Eastern country. I'm not going to name it only because these things are very controversial, but
mm,
there is a Middle Eastern country where the people are in the streets in massive numbers, and the women in particular.
mm,
Um, you know, the Black Moon Lilith has now moved into Sagittarius, a fire sign. In late June, on the 30th, I think it is, Jupiter will come out of the waters of Cancer,
mm,
be the last planet, not, yes, um, to exit the watery, earthy realms, and he is going to go into Leo, another fire sign. So the fire energy is really strong this year.
mm, mm, mm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
Fascinating.
fire represents many things, but it also to me represents spirit, you know, our own spirit. And Aries is a sign, to me, a sign of courage. And to have the courage to do what we need to do and to make choices that we might previously have just not had the courage to make, you
Yeah.
know?
You know, fire mixed with words, because we've got Mercury there. Um, that is what ignites passion in people, which then establishes causes,
Yes,
you know, and revolution, and
yeah,
brings attention to things that are very important.
yes,
Those people who are predisposed to being, what's the word, socially critical, like myself, but you don't
yep,
say it here. So, you know, it sort of ignites you to speak up to, or to act, you know,
yes.
towards that aspiration that's been ignited in you.
Yes, that's exactly right. Because the previous sign, Pisces, things feel so overwhelming and so exhausting. It's been very difficult in many ways to find a way forward or to find even a bit of extra energy to um, take some kind of action, or it just has felt so overwhelming. In many cases, gone, I just don't know what to do. But once we move into this fiery energy, fire
Mm,
demands action, and Aries is a sign of action. If you know, you think about all the Aries people, they just go for it, they just do it, they
yeah,
don't think,
yeah,
they just respond
yeah.
and do something about it.
Mm, mm.
So that can be both negative and positive, of course.
Of course, I'm just thinking like going from hugging our doona to holding our warrior shield. You know,
That's
it's a very
right.
different sort of
Sword
energy.
in one hand, shield in the other, flames coming out of our ears.
Crown
Yeah.
chakra is ignited.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
dear, very funny.
And you know, it's that phrase, you know, what fires us up.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mind you, the body can also end up struggling with inflammation and
Yes.
infections. That's also,
Heart
you know, in terms of
problems.
yes, the
Yeah,
medical side of things. It's a lot of energy coming through.
yeah.
So The Saturnian part of this, for 2 years, Saturn will be in Aries, Neptune will be there for 14. The Saturn part of this is learning to pace ourselves, because we can get so enthusiastic and so impatient in Aries. Saturn is, no, you have to learn how to master this energy, pace yourself, slow, it goes at a more steady pace, but keep moving forward steadily. Push through, but steady as you go. Yeah. Not like just throwing yourself at it like Aries will tend to do.
It's like the old hare and tortoise story, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
The race.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, thank you for that. That's given us a lot to think about and process, I think. There's a lot in that to
Yes.
process too. Yeah.
It is a lot. And when we meet again in a month at the next new moon, the eclipse, we'll have been through all of this and we can sort of see, what's unfolded and what we've
Mm,
experienced.
yeah, wonderful. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to like and subscribe if you feel so you want to do that, and share with other friends if you think you would like to do that as well. We would appreciate it. So until we see you again in another month for the next new moon, take care of yourselves and see you soon. Bye for now.
Okay.